All right, it's 5:47. We're here at a police committee meeting. We're going to be discussing the budget, and I will turn it over to Chief Amy Lane to take it away. Yeah, we should do the pledge.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't have the agenda
Oh,
printed out.
okay. Yep, it's good. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll approve the agenda. The only thing on the agenda is the budget. So I think that's kind of what we all agreed on prior. We don't have any public comments. And then just kind of skipping ahead, we don't really have any old business. We're not really talking reports. We're just going to talk the police budget tonight. And if anything stems from there, we'll go from there. So also just kind of for your awareness, gentlemen, I have the police budget up in Banyan here. You'll notice that we have some things missing like para, Social Security, Medicare. Those will all get calculated in after the fact. You'll see here at the salaries, I just put that up 3.5%. But when we kind of look at last year's salaries, we went a little north of what we budgeted in 24. So that 25 number, I think, is going to change. So, right. I'll stop talking. Amy, take it away.
All right, so this is a spreadsheet that I put together today. I did meet with Brett last week just to kind of go over this to get the numbers that he added up there. The stuff that's highlighted in yellow, Brett kind of touched on that already. That's something that needs to be figured. I have no say in what those items are. So office supplies, we made no changes to that. That's just something since I started here, I think it was at $1,000. We're going to leave it at that. Because at some point we probably should update some old stuff that we have in our office. We just haven't done that yet. The training budget, we cut 500 off that. I did sign up with Otter Tail County. They have training that they offer in Otter Tail. You have to be a member of it. They were gracious enough, instead of charging us $200 per officer, that I just paid for one spot. Officer White is going to utilize that for their use of force. The mandatory stuff. So no changes there. I did no changes to the operating supplies, just kind of some notes there. Radar calibration, we do that once a year. That actually is going to be on Wednesday. So we pay for the 3 of those to get done. I should probably order some ammo. And then recently we just had our less lethal qualification. All of our stuff is expired. So I need to order some rounds for that too, and I don't know what the cost of that is. So
what is that? Less than lethal? Is that your taser?
40 millimeter.
Like bunch of rounds.
Oh, we have a 40 millimeter launcher here. Oh,
We just had training on it last month.
okay.
So how does that?
They're just the foam rounds. I mean, you don't want to get hit with them.
No, they're very painful.
Yeah. So I didn't realize we have Adam with
Paintball?
Seems so well like a paintball.
Yeah, it's gonna give you a nice.
How many come out at once?
Just
One?
just
Yeah, they're like
think
probably
potato.
big around.
Um,
Yeah, like a potato gun,
Yeah.
except they're more expensive.
but you can't reuse them.
No, we can reload what are they called? The casings? Yeah. And we can reload those. But all the rounds that we have, and I don't know how many total we have, they're expired. I don't know how important that is.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious, like the shelf life on them, right? Like, what is it? It's
5 years.
5 years. Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah. So
that's fine.
I'll have to check into some prices and see what we have for that.
Question. The ammo that is dated, that's expired, no longer, now, like most expirations, it's like they always scale it back and make it tight because they just want to make sure. Probably good for another year, but I'm not.
That would be my thought. I'm not going to hurry up because I don't know what they cost. I was going to connect with Nate at Wadena to see where he orders from and what his thoughts are. But when we order this time, when we do put an order in, I'm not going to go crazy and order a ton of rounds. The nice thing about it is the stuff we have now that's expired, when we just qualified last month with it, we shot those. You shoot them up. We do the same thing with our taser cartridges when those
I
expire.
was wondering too.
Yeah.
For like training and
Yeah, we
practice
do
and
training.
so we don't just lose them. You use
Correct.
them,
Yeah,
We still use them.
just not out in the field.
Correct.
So,
Cause our luck, they're expired and then they don't work. And
yeah, they don't. Got it.
Yeah.
How many remain? How many?
I have not counted yet, but I think we have a fair amount.
It's over 10.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes. Okay. Our motor fuels and lubricants line item, we were originally at 10,000 and then for 2025, we went down to 7,500. Kind of iffy with that because we're already over, well, I don't know, we're almost halfway there for 2025 already. And that's a hard line item to guess because we have no idea what fuel prices are going to be. So I bumped that up to 9,000 and that came from some of the other line items that I took back from that we cut down on. So it evened out. So that's just a suggestion. I feel that we should go up on that. Uniform allowance, we left that the same because we're usually pretty close every year. We do have one replacement for 2026. That'll be Joe. And that's 1,650. I do put in for reimbursement through the state and the federal government. We don't get all of it back, but we do get a big chunk of it back. So
Great.
that's
Replacement meaning he had bad stuff or old stuff?
These expire, our bulletproof vests expire every 5 years too.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Everything expires. You gotta make money on
Right, yeah.
Plates expire?
it every 5 years.
yeah,
The
the
Kevlar?
the warranty.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if the vest was, if you're shutting the vest, the company would automatically send you a new vest. So the warranty,
But if it's older than 5 years old,
yeah,
and you die,
then you
that's-
don't.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, I mean, we would send our plates, and I know I had the same plates for a number of years. We'd send them, get them X-rayed. And if they were all where they needed to be, then we held on to them.
Well, and honestly, when we started in law enforcement back in the day, we had so many part-timers and I was a part-timer. They didn't buy us vests, so we always got hand-me-downs that were expired.
Mm.
And honestly, old ones, we've taken them out to the range and shot them before and they're fine.
Well, I know.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
the liability for the company, the vest.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's
They say it's 5 years.
And it's a moneymaker. It's residual income.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, they're like enameled plates. They don't go bad.
No, I know, but it's like, you think about car seats for kids. They sit in the sun, they cook like these, you sweat in them, they're exposed to heat, they're exposed to cold, whatever else.
Fibers.
And
I don't know.
it's still
See the
Kevlar
fibers can
material.
break
Yeah.
down.
Hey,
So
yeah,
does it
no.
break down then get weak? Is that why they
Listen,
say?
That's what they call
Because
it.
it's woven like fabric, right?
no, we're talking about plates, right?
Yeah.
Plates.
Not the
Yeah.
Kevlar.
But these are the Kevlar, the
These are
woven
the
fabric.
top.
Oh, the soft armor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes
And then you
perfect
got
sense.
the plate in front.
Trauma plate.
Oh, yeah.
For the Bible.
That's the spall liner,
Yeah.
All right, repair and maintenance, 6,000. Obviously, we met that already this year. That's kind of,
So to clarify, what this doesn't reflect is the reimbursements that we received from it, right? As for example, the transmission, which is what makes this cost look so erroneous, was $6,000. Well, we got what, 4,000 to offset that. So, but that's not reflected on here. So don't freak out about this large number. We're still
2,900.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I know the money's there, through the grants and the donation we got, but this doesn't reflect it.
yeah, and that just for your clarity there. That's
Yeah. So, I think 6,000 has kind of been the standard amount for our repairs. The year before, we were pretty good with that.
Is that because you average at $2,000 a vehicle? You use
Well,
two vehicles,
it
right?
depends. Yeah, it depends on how old, it's like, I feel like since I've started here, we've had horrible luck with vehicles, but with Derek's, before we replaced it, the one that Public Works has now, it's like that thing from the time I started here has been nothing but nickel and dime the city to death. So, and I mean, mine has 87,000 miles on it. knock on wood, zero issues, but it's probably gonna rust apart before, you know. The Tahoe's had issues with radiator. Other than that, really nothing with that. So I think if we keep it at 6, we're good. And cross our fingers that nothing big happens next year like it did this year. Any questions on that one? Okay. Legal services, that's for our county attorney contract. That's who our attorney is for the city for the criminal stuff, and that's $700 a month. So that equals out to the 84. I did reach out to them to ask if there was going to be an increase for 2026. There's no word of that yet. So hopefully not. Yeah, professional services, that's always been set at 200 since we've been here, or excuse me, 2000. I don't know necessarily.
They didn't spend it all last year, huh?
Correct.
So
I don't really know what it would be for, other than I know, Joe Schoen was Cleo before I was hired up here, and he was paid for that, and I know that that came out of there. So
what's Cleo?
Yeah.
Chief Law Enforcement Officer.
Oh,
You have to have a Cleo department. So Joe Schoen with the county took it over until they hired me.
oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It's the interim Cleo.
Yeah.
got it. Well, where is that professional?
305.
So let's look at 24 here. Oh boy,
It'd have been
40.
So 2023 probably would have been the last time it
Right.
was.
Got a
Total.
Oh no, there's not.
Okay, well, this is telling me.
We did talk about using that when the PD had grievances. To take out of there, because that wasn't something that I had a line item to cover.
That's what kind of would be.
Usually I can drill down on this, but. Okay. Fair enough. So 23, okay, they spent 2,800.
Must have been him then.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been 23.
and then, yeah, so 24. Well, let's go back in time a little further here.
Just other professional. There's an other.
And originally my plan last year for that line item is when we had all the squats redecaled, I was gonna take it out of there.
Higher, maybe? No, that's the top.
Okay, so really didn't spend that much in.
Always been a questionable one.
Yeah, or then there'd have been professional cert
uh,
up a little bit more.
No, so this is 42,110. Okay, they spent 8,000. And so we just don't really know.
Wow. That's a lot of money. Like,
Okay.
we don't know exactly where that went. Like, there's a record, so.
Yeah, there's a record somewhere.
Yeah, I can normally I can drill down and it'll tell me exactly what, but it's just not gonna do it on this one. Okay,
So that one's left at 2,000 because it seems like it gets used somewhere at some point for something other than, well, last year it should have.
okay.
All right, and then the telephone, fax, internet, so that's broke down. We have an IT contract through Wadena County for our law enforcement computers. I did find out today that they're expecting an increase for 2026, but when I met with Brett last week, I don't feel that we're even getting the $3,500 worth of services. But in this same sense, Wadena County had a turnover with their IT department, and it doesn't sound like they were even aware that these contracts existed. So it's not intentional. It's just there's been a change of staff and
Well,
trying to get back on board.
And if we're gonna see an increase, do we need to put this back to $8,000? Because it looks like in 24 we capped out just over what we budgeted.
Well, I've
I mean, I know we took the GPSs, we canceled that service. That's gonna save us.
I don't know that there needs to be some negotiating because I don't feel that we need 4 hours a month of IT support services from Wadena County. we don't use them really at all. I mean, I understand like they maintain our servers and there is a lot of stuff that they do, but like physically needing them to come here and do anything.
When's the last time somebody's pulled up and helped?
Is it as is? I wonder if we can we
I was almost gonna tell them charge
bill us,
$1,000 and then
they bill us as you use them and
they showed up 2 weeks ago for the first time since I started here. Because they didn't know that these contracts existed. So when they get a new county administrator, that's gonna be their task. They're gonna look at these contracts but I know in speaking with the other police departments that are paying $3,500, we're kind of all in the same boat with this, opinion wise, that why are we paying this much when we don't need it?
And that covers the 35 in your comment section here, cell
Yeah.
phones for all three?
So 3 cell phones for each one of us, and then we also have the jetpacks in our squads. For our computers to run off of, that's $244 a month. And then, the PD also has $105 a month to West Central, and that's for us to have that local 564 number for local to call and not have to call long distance. Or they call here and it rolls down to Wadena. And then apparently, our internet. So, yeah,
Like internet while you're in your squad or just?
no over the
at the
building.
office.
Wouldn't that just be like in-house? Like
You would think.
It's all
they
separate.
divide it by department?
And I questioned that too, and Kelly brought it into me today, we don't have West Central phones in our offices. When we got on with Wadena County, we have Wadena County phones.
Oh.
So I can hit one button and buzz down to dispatch or call anybody at the courthouse. That's how we were set up with it. So, yeah. But that's where this IT contract is really gonna be up in the air for probably the next few months until they get a county coordinator or administrator in there and we get that figured out.
Sabika the same way?
I think
With the one touch, like,
I think Cody White would.
They never put the phones in Sabika.
but they're paying for like the 3,500?
Ferndale, I think, is in the same boat. We are all paying $3,500, including Wadena PD, and they have twice as many computers as we do. So I've been digging into this.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, like the fire contracts, right? I'd like to go and actually sit down and just say like, hey, what is the service that you're providing us? And is it fair?
Mhm.
I mean, with our 3 townships, we don't give them a one size fits all. No, we do the math and that's how we come up with, the price that we're gonna ask them for.
And that's what we talked about this. I think this was one contract that the IT director at the time put together, a one size fits all. And every department pays the same no matter how many computers you have,
Yeah.
which I don't think that's appropriate.
I
or
would say,
reasonable.
see if we can get just a contract saying, okay, you will maintain it, and then whatever hours that you spend on it is what we get billed.
So it's built in there. Not only do we pay the $3,500,
But then,
if somebody has to call after hours, it's $150 an hour that we get billed. Plus, what did it say?
It's a minimum of 2 hours.
Minimum of 2
So
hours. And I'm like, and that, how often you get locked out? Simple
Yeah.
phone call, they click something in the system and
yeah, takes
So-
10 minutes.
$300. I don't know if we've ever been billed that. I'd have to find out, but
how often does it happen where you're calling after hours? That's what I want to know.
It may not happen it may happen tonight and then it might be
months later.
months from
Yeah.
now that it happens and, it all depends on,
I think this contract really needs to be dissected and a conversation needs to be had about it.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, it seems, I understand it more that as you explain it and like everything is included, the phones, the internet and all that, but to me, that behooves me to think that here, this is city of Menahga and these are the entities, fire, police. And we're the 3 I mentioned, the obviously front desk here and yet we have different internet accounts. Like I would say that we fix that and we get it all.
I think there's a lot of things like that in that, the same, conversation could be had that we bill ourselves for water.
I think
So-
what that 105 I remember right, is they
I have it
broke it
broke down
between,
right here. So
Yeah,
I'm
I think
right for
it's-
the police department. It's an actual 218-111-9470, but that's for our internet.
but I think it's, from what I understood, it was broke between all the departments paid so much for the internet and the phone. So it's not specifically, they have their own router.
Uh,
Administration.
yeah,
has their
yeah,
own
that's
router.
right.
I think
They-
that's what it is it's divided throughout the whole
Oh.
internet and phone and TV and stuff. It's divided through the whole package.
So there's one bill that goes to West
Yeah.
Central.
Yes.
And then we get the one.
Yeah,
bill,
and-
then
but it's just
everybody-
broke.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's broken
All
down.
three.
It's like,
The
What?
three departments or
Well,
city.
and I mean, you could argue that when you look at, the government building, line, why wouldn't it just come out of that essentially by itself, no matter who uses it? It would, I think from a, budgeting perspective, it would make things significantly easier, especially when you're trying to calculate like, well, how much do you think you're gonna use? Instead of just going by like, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen, dozen of the
yeah,
other.
that's just really. Yeah.
Hey, we used to send ourselves checks in the mail. We stopped that, so.
Jeez. Wait a couple days to get it, send it all the way down to St. Cloud and back.
Yeah, every time we put a piece of mail in the mailbox, it's like $1.25, so.
Right.
Okay, next line item was postage. I knocked that down to $150. It was at 300, and that's kind of another one of those that we really don't know, because if I have evidence that needs to get mailed to the VCA or stuff like that, that can add up pretty quick. Or certified mail, stuff like that. Traveling conference, we kept at 1,000. I did encourage the guys, if there's anything they want to go to let me know, because we do have a line item for that. Printing and publishing, I suppose if we ever needed to hire somebody.
Oh, no, I mean, if you have to, get
Put it
flyers
in the
made,
paper.
yeah.
The next three is one of those that we'll get figured out.
Yeah,
later.
we'll calculate that.
Animal control costs, that's kind of another one that's questionable. We bought one bag of dog food since I've been here.
Yeah.
If we have dogs or don't.
Uh-huh.
So we've kept that at 150. Squad car equipment, that's a line item that that's kind of, we maybe need it, we maybe don't need it. I just had a used light put in my squad because the one in the front went out.
What was the 12 grand for?
Is that what you're budgeting? Putting away towards a new
So
equipment
that-
vehicle?
Originally last year, they put that in there to replace the computers, and then I ended up getting those grants that covered all of it. But that is the hopes that this is something that they'll agree to roll over to save up for when we have to replace computers.
Well, I mean, if,
Replace stuff.
Squads.
Yeah.
well, I mean, if that's the way the conversation is gonna go, then we ought to just, exnay that and put it into capital outlay.
But this
Because-
also is, if I like say these lights issues, or if we have something expensive that goes out in the squads, sometime that would come out of this line item, because I really don't have any other line item that's
Well,
enough to replace something that may be expensive.
well, then I think we ought to just leave it how it is.
Oh, I see. The capital outlay is 10,000 for a squad
Correct.
replacement. Okay.
Yeah.
But can we, the squad car equipment, because last year you had 12,387, or is that this year?
That's
No,
the way it was. So
I can explain this. This is for the squad computers,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so we bought the computers,
Yeah,
and that's where that expenditure is coming from.
and then you got the grant.
But we had the grants actually before we even
Yeah.
made the expenditure, but you just don't see that reflected on
yeah,
this
you never see
document.
it. Like there's a lot of this stuff that I got grants for or donations or whatever, but it still shows that it comes out of here, even though the
Yeah.
money is showing somewhere else.
So, but that squad car equipment, that's like if your light goes out, you replace it out of there. But if you're then the capital outlay, if you were coming to say, heaven forbid, we have to buy a new car next year,
Mhm.
you have 10,000 saved up, but you have the 12,000 in there, so you could use
Yeah.
that for two. So, okay.
Yeah,
So
and
really you have what, 23,000?
and I mean, yeah, just on capital outlay alone from last year, I mean, we have 10K in the bank specifically for the police.
Yeah, when I started up here, I think there was 3,000 in the 406 fund saved up to purchase a squad,
Well, that
and
was-
because nobody had.
Well,
saved.
yeah,
It was.
capital outlay was, well, I can't really talk too much of the 2023 to 2024 budget. There was not, a capital outlay was very sporadic
Yeah.
and it hit or miss.
There was in 21, there was 30 grand in there,
Yeah, I
but
don't
they
know.
redid the budget in November and.
Well, I mean, just again,
all the money went away,
I'll
so-
point at the fire department.
Yeah.
Like one year they had 0, one year they had like 8,400.
Yeah.
The other year it was just there was no like real set amounts. There was no strategy on
Yeah.
like how are we actually gonna keep, maintain, and replace our equipment, and how are we gonna get on a schedule? So we really
Right.
put our foot down last year, and so
That's also, we have not rotating rotating administrators anymore.
yeah, no,
So now with
there's a
the
little more
schedule,
stability
yeah.
here. So
Yeah. That was when everything was, all the turmoil started, so.
Okay.
Right, getting back to.
Okay, dues and subscriptions, we kept that at $1,000. That's for, my membership, the 244 a year to the Chiefs of Police Association, which is a great resource for me. Post license, $90 a year. Everybody's offset, so we don't all renew at the same time. Joe was this year. And then I think Derek's next year, and then I'm the year after.
What license is that?
Or post license, we have to have through the state to be a cop. Yeah,
Each
every
person?
3 years. Yeah, we have to update them.
And then does that come with like renewing like any testing or just renew your license?
So, yeah, you just renew the license. We just have to show that we've completed all the mandatory training in those 3 years, and then they give us a post license for 3 years again.
Got it. As a peace officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then the last thing, we pay $600 a year for the BCA's and CGDN, and that's what we have to have for our computers on the system, basically, to run all the license plates stuff. It's for our squads. License and permits, we pay the CIS license $640 a year. That's for our record system. And then, per the union contract, the officers get a one-time yearly payment of $325 each for being licensed. It was something they negotiated when they did the contract,
A bonus?
whatever you want to call it. I don't
I
know.
don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it just says because you're licensed, you get a one-time whenever they pay it. It's in the beginning of the year, $325.
One time in their career.
No, once a year.
One, oh, okay, annually. Yeah.
incentive pay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
Plus goes to pay for their relicensing, right?
No,
Or
it's
does the
just.
city pay
it's
for the
just-
relicensing?
Yep, that's part of the
That's what that's.
license
line
and
up-
permit,
Yeah, okay.
or excuse me, the next lineup, dues and subscriptions.
Sure.
And then contribution, we skipped that one. The capital outlay, we figured we'd add 10,000 in there again for when we need to replace.
And now that I'm looking at it, right? I mean, should we maybe get that number up to, you know,
15?
yeah, kind of what I'm thinking right now.
So here's my thought is that,
Stuff's expensive.
and it's not getting any cheaper,
Yeah.
honestly, and I want to continue to go the same route that we did with Derek's squad. Because you can order these new squads these days and they're supposed to be in May, and then they don't show up for months after that. So I don't have a problem with going the used route. Let's be reasonable. We're a smaller city, and the squad we got for Derek was an older squad, which we did find out the problem with that is that when the transmission goes out, it's not covered under warranty because of if it's age. So even though it had lower miles, that is one down, side to it. So I don't have a problem with continuing to buy used to save the city money in that aspect.
Well, I would like to think, right? So we threw $6,000 at this thing, 6 months after we got it up and running, so what if we would have taken that $6,000 and added on to the sale price and maybe bought something a little little shorter in the tooth.
Right, no, I
So,
understand.
I think there's just give and take. So,
We saved a ton of money though. We got the same year squad, so we could take all the equipment out of his old one, put it in the new one. And thank God for Jim and Aldrich, if he has anything extra laying around, because the bridge department's, yeah, this is garbage. Well, I gotta use light on my squad last week, that he had sitting in his junk pile. Works just fine for us.
so yeah, I think 15 grand, we can bump that up. I think we ought to bump it up
Yeah.
early now, because as the budget continues to develop, we'll have a little left and right movement, and I would rather over budget in the expenditures,
Right.
realm now, so.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, every year the equipment that it's getting,
It's
it's
ridiculous.
getting more and more expensive and we might not get lucky to get another 2020
Right.
vehicle or,
Right.
something that we could move this stuff over.
It all
so.
depends on what they
Yeah.
have available.
Yeah. But I would say move that capital outlay or add it another 5 grand to that. Just
Yeah,
with the knowing that
makes sense.
next year or a year from now or 2 years from now, it's gonna be that much more to.
Yeah, and we
Replace
may
stuff.
look at replacing, mine's up next. Like I said, it has 87,000 miles on it. No problems with it, but
But you hit
We're looking at
that magic number of 100,000
Yeah.
miles that starts nickel diming. I don't know
Right.
what it is, but every time it's right around that 100,000 miles, stuff starts falling apart.
Mm. The dues and subscription, I know we already went past that, but 24 budget, the 1,000, and then there was 4,000 that followed. What the
4,000 and followed.
4,100?
Yeah, the 24 last year's year to date amount was 4,100.
Yeah,
Oversight or just a
So-
bunch of extra things that,
I think this is the one that I just talked to Kelly about. Our IT contract, for some reason, was put under the 433 line item when it should not have been. It should have been under the 321. So that's why that one looks that way.
Mhm.
Apparently that's where Elvina put it.
well, even then, I mean, that 321 was, right over its actual budgeted amount, so are we kind of throwing a false flag here?
No, I'm pretty sure that's.
that'd be
what-
like 12 grand then if you
Yeah, that,
reallocate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, more than.
So I
13.
think something was put in the wrong line item and that's why it looks like that.
you want me to go look right now?
She gave me a copy of it.
She did? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and that is,
Okay.
I told her, I said, I don't know if it needs to be fixed to clean this up or not, but it should never have gone in the 433.
Well, I mean, cause when I look at what we've expended so far in 25, $268, we budgeted 1,000. That to me says we're on course to be under when
Yeah.
December 31st hits.
Right.
So
Yeah, I didn't know if there's other dues and subscriptions that were like every 2 year type
No.
of thing where it hits it hard and then it kind of flatlines and then it, you know what I mean?
and yeah, that happens too. And
Right.
Well,
Every
and that's
3 year type of,
something too, that this professional services line, we have to get, every 2 years, you're required to have your body cameras audited. And we have to do that this year, because this is our second year going into it.
how does that work?
So-
'Cause, I mean, they come in and then they upload, right? Like,
So they apparently, I had chatted with Naomi about it because she's been through it before.
Yeah.
And they'll send you a form to fill out, you answer a bunch of questions, and then they'll come in and look at stuff, but I think it's $2,500 to have it audited, but per statute, we have to do this if we have body cameras.
yeah, no, that's fine.
So I think that's something that we could take out of the professional services line.
They're upstairs.
This is what I was thinking.
Hey, yeah, I think that's acceptable. I just like, I have a hard time understanding, like, it's a body camera and it works. And when it doesn't work, you get a new one,
Yeah.
but then someone has to audit it
They
when
have to
all the
make
stuff
sure-
comes in and gets uploaded anyway, like,
Yeah, make sure that, because each different category, because when we have a recording, we have to go up and categorize it. Well, you have to save them for X amount of days if they're this, X amount of days for that. You have to make sure that.
so I mean, are they auditing the files then, or the actual cameras themselves?
No files.
The files.
Video.
Oh,
making sure that you're doing your like post job, like.
They're making
your-
sure that you're storing them the way that you're supposed to and that they're being checked on and.
I see. So it's not the hardware, right?
No, it's
No,
not
it's
the hardware.
It's not like
the videos,
recalibrating
the
type
actual-
of-
Yeah,
The actual
okay.
videos.
$2,500.
Yeah.
They went up $500 this year from the email that Naomi.
So do we have to,
All
for your
right.
professional services, increase that? If that's where you want.
Well-
Well,
that.
this would be, this would have to be in 27 would be the next time they come and audit it, right?
No, I have to have it done.
Well, yeah, in
Or- yeah,
25. So the next one would
Yeah,
be
okay, so
27.
we wouldn't have to increase it now.
Just every 2 years.
Yeah.
So I have
Just
to,
make a note of that, though.
Yeah.
What category does that fall under?
That would be 305.
Right above the telephone fax.
Oh, I see.
Taking that.
So in 27, it'll probably be $3,000. So I'm just gonna.
these lovely expenses that they throw at you and you have to do it.
People coming, are they coming from like the metro? They're
Yeah.
coming from the city?
Unfunded mandates.
So they probably upped it because we're outstate. You know?
Other equipment, can we talk that real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was just kind of a, hey, we gotta replace something.
Just on there.
Mhm.
So
So you could probably take. Well, I was gonna say. I feel like some of these line items, we could just get rid of them, but
Like the other equipment.
other equipment, it should just. I don't know why we have that. I don't know the history of that line.
And that's, I'm sure
Unless
it's been there since,
I'm gonna go grab the revenues real fast.
but I'm just wondering if that, like that other equipment can't go, I would assume, and I shouldn't assume, I know better. That could be either put into your squad car equipment or the
Right.
capital outlay.
Or you could almost stick it in office supplies or something.
Yeah.
Like,
give me an example of what an other equipment looks like. Battering ram to bust down, or is that SWAT
Something
team
random
stuff?
like, hey, we need this for the department. It's like, oh, all right, we'll take it out of the other equipment line.
It's just kind of like a benevolent, like a,
It could be, you name it, it can be used for anything.
night vision goggles. I mean, not really, but that's not regular stuff, right? That would be
No,
like,
like when I started up here, we
Unless it's
got
for
those.
like the frisbee, like the little knick-knack stuff.
So that's not equipment. I'm not allowed to buy any of that.
Well, I know, like, but
You
you would
mean
that,
like-
but if you wanted to give something out at the parade or something,
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
you'd get the blessing from the higher ups and then they would come out of that.
Yeah, and
the higher ups.
that's just it. I don't
Right,
have,
then they
us?
call it- yeah.
I don't have a line item for anything like that. The last time when I started up here, I applied for the Chiefs of Police Association grant, got $1,500 to buy a bunch of stuff for National Night Out, and that works.
Stickers, balloons.
Yep.
Yeah.
And kids in school always want stickers, and I'm like, you guys are $500 a roll. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. We got those light back things for choking, since we have the nursing homes and like an elderly community. That would be something that it could come out of that line.
Sure. Believe it if it's like kind of an easy, accessible, hey, let's just pull it out of here. Not a lot of questions asked. I mean, nothing trying to be secretive. This is a wide open,
No, correct. and
I'm
there is,
saying
like-
that, but sometimes when it comes out of a certain item, it has to meet certain qualification, you know what I mean? Can't pay your internet bill out of the, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But this seems to be, it has a little more latitude.
Mhm.
There's a little more wiggle room. So if something does pop up that doesn't really is hardcore definable by another line item, it's like, well, then it must be other equipment. Yeah, I just didn't know if you had an example, but you gave some.
Well, don't go here. We'll put it here.
Speaking of spots, anybody from Menahga on the, like, the Hubbard, Wadena, is it Becker? Isn't it a 3 SWAT team?
Yeah,
Anyone from Menahga?
no,
Like you or
Okay, this is the,
I think that was the last one lost.
you were the last one?
That's been a number of years.
these are the revenues. And then for historics, here's 25s.
Oh.
Yeah, get more of the kinks out of this bang. Any other questions on the expenditures? Or do we feel pretty good about that? Do we make any changes, Amy?
He's talking about the other.
That other equipment, we were just wondering what that would be, or if we could combine that with something else. Cause there's the other equipment right now.
Yeah, and I
Here.
mean, what, do we make a decision on that? Do we wanna move
We
it?
didn't know what's for.
Well, I'd be curious to know what's been paid out. I mean, since I've been here, I don't know that I've used it.
'Cause I really don't like categorizing things as other.
Yeah.
that much.
well, right, and there's some of these.
And that's why we're wondering if we can't just take that, what's budgeted there,
And move it
And move it to,
to,
like,
repair and
equipment or-
maintenance.
that, or just equip,
Like
quad or.
like we talked about, if we kind of had a better idea of like Amy just said it, like what it was used for in the past, then we would have some backstory to be like, oh, well, looking forward, maybe we could use that for this, then
Yeah.
leave it, maybe give it another title, revamp the
Yeah.
name, keep the line item.
Yeah,
$500, it's not that much. It's just kind of a little bit of saying it's not so definable that like you're not trying to pay your internet bill with like equipment line item,
Right.
but it also gives you
Is that something you could look
some wiggle
later
room.
on? I mean, not
oh,
Not
yeah,
now,
yeah,
but,
no, I
like,
can, I
just
can,
look to see what it was classified for, like previous years.
oh, yeah. Hopefully.
See what it was used and then just let us know.
Like Ethan
And
was
if-
talking about it.
Well, I'll tell you
Or
what,
if we could- if we could-
let me go look at it right
or
now
if
and.
Or if we can remove it later on at our next budget meeting, then we know
Well,
what it is, be
Yeah,
like,
move it to a
okay,
different.
yeah,
Okay.
or just move it, reallocate it to something else.
No, I'll go
But
drill it right
You don't have
now.
to do it now. I mean,
If you, now, Amy, just take them through, your revenues and, I can just, this will take me 2 seconds, right?
Riley upstairs. Oh, excuse me. No, you're good.
Hey, what do is it like better?
Yeah,
What are they
so
doing?
we have our fit test, our physical test, or
Oh,
the medical
we only have to do
checkup.
push-ups and set
No,
up.
it's blood pressure, check your heart,
Oh, make sure you're
um,
gonna.
breathe, be able to breathe in a
Oh,
mask.
see.
So
So is
it's
there,
called Med Compass.
who's actually giving the?
It's a company that comes in
Oh,
and does
okay.
it.
We're gonna pay 'em.
Yeah, it's mandated. Every year,
Their hands and everything, it's probably good.
Hey, that's all Luke Mandership found his heart issues. So
Who is that? Which guy?
one of our old firemen here.
You gone now?
Yeah, he retired off the department, then moved to a different area.
Okay,
Okay.
so.
It's like Luke.
Where, so I don't know what's the difference here. What do you print? So 26, we have nothing in there. So we would want to go for 24 is what we had total for 24. So the state aid grants, so it looks like we got more for 2025, a couple thousand more. Police training reimbursement. So I'm on this sheet. The $4,054. So Cleos submit or a reimbursement to the post board every year. So we're required to do a whole bunch of training, and then the post board will reimburse us for the training that we do, like our hourly rate, or say we have travel expenses, stuff like that. So that was what I got back for reimbursements last year, the $4,054. So we do that every year. Public safety equipment, I have no idea what that is or why it's on there. It's zero anyway. Court fines, that's what we get back from the courts for citations or like cases, fines and stuff like that. Our traffic citations, that is what we wrote for our admin tickets, the ones that come directly back to the city. Those aren't the state citations. Ordinance citations, those.
What are the different?
So if you get a traffic citation, you either get one through the state that you pay the state, or you get the city one.
Oh,
The ones that are, they come back to the city, they don't go on your record and they're $60.
what would
Much-
justify one or the other?
That's like
State
a-
highway versus city?
No, it's like a,
Discretion, and you can only rate the speed for that. It has to be 9 miles an hour or below. Like say we got someone cooking in at 20, it has, well,
Goes to the
it
state.
has to be a state if they're written. So, and there's only certain offenses that you can write the citations for the ordinance, the city ones.
The headlight out or no headlights or
Exhaust, stop
Yeah.
sign.
Now that,
exhibition driving.
but could you elevate that, or you're saying there's criteria for each? Just
No, it's officer discretion of which one you want to write them for.
say,
Sure.
Oh,
goes to the state, it's more money, right? A headlight out
It
in
costs
the
way
city
more.
Yeah.
versus a headlight out, yeah.
and it could affect your insurance, like our city administrative citations, like people are so thankful to get those and the money comes back. I don't want to say, oh, it comes back to the city. That's not our goal in doing it.
Yeah,
But it's much easier on someone to, hey, I'm gonna give you an administrative citation for speed versus, you go to court, goes on your record, affects your insurance, stuff like that.
see,
Yeah, so then ordinance citations, that's for our city ordinances. Like a lot of these are probably for dogs or public nuisance, stuff like that. Those are $75 each. And then contributions and donations, I have to assume that that's the donations we got in 2024, the 8431, right? The very bottom one.
Yeah,
So I don't know, what is this? On the very bottom one, it says budgeted for January 2025 to 5,000.
so ignore that. Look at the next
I'm
page.
gonna say you're putting pressure on me. Like, do I have to get that?
No.
Okay. Um,
No, we estimated that in 25, you would get under contributions and donations approximately $5,000.
All right, well, we're at 3,700.
And I mean, I think that's pretty accurate considering last year you got 12,000, for your squad computers. So, and I mean, again, this is, revenues specifically for, the departments that are for more or less 100% taxpayer subsidized. Yeah, I do greatly under budget in the revenue section because you just don't know, and I don't want to plan against
Yeah, I
something
feel
that
like
is
we
a
can't
big
make
maybe.
people speed or break the law or, the nuisance ordinances,
Right.
it's always case by case basis. So,
when somebody has a bunch of livestock in their backyard, wild chickens or something like,
Hey, you better not have chickens because 5151.52
yeah, you bet.
will get you.
2.5 acres you can have.
Yeah.
But not in town, not in city limits.
Well, technically anywhere if you have 2.5 acres.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Are there 2.5 acre lots with?
That's what I was.
No.
Okay, but it doesn't say. city limits.
There are some on the northwest side
Yeah.
of town that have 3 acres, or one lady had 80 acres,
Oh, wow.
but sold a bunch of it. And
Yeah.
she still has.
Got
That's
dogs and
rare.
everything else.
Yeah.
So currently then this 580 line, this is, I mean, it was budgeted for 500.
It wasn't used last year. It wasn't used. It's not used this year. I think we could probably safely take that $500 and reallocate it somewhere else.
Yeah, because it looks like there wasn't even budgeted in 2024, but apparently in
Upstairs where we-
2023 it was.
Well, it wasn't budgeted. Okay, no, it's budgeted for 5,000.
Oh, gotcha.
Who's this James?
He's the guy that does our squad
Wow.
setups and stuff like that. Lights. If we get a new squad, he does the setup for him.
So soft key entry, like.
That is,
Body cam.
I'm guessing, oh, no, that's our Williams key. It's a thing that we bought to get into doors.
I mean, wouldn't that,
Like a battery or thing?
No, it's literally like L-shaped. You can stick it in Jimmy doors.
I mean, wouldn't that be operating supplies? I feel like you could justify that there.
Well, I'm sure it could be, but it was probably like, hey, we're buying this in September and we have this line item that has money in it, so we're gonna stick it in this one. Would be my guess.
Well, I mean, I typically when you budget in a category, you're anticipating some expenditures,
Right.
right? So I just don't know.
So yes, I do believe we could just move that 500 somewhere else and
Yeah, let's
have
do it.
one more.
What would be the best drop spot?
I mean, right up front, motor fuels and lubricants. I mean, operating supplies, yeah.
Yeah, because that's really the only one that we're significantly increasing is the fuel cost. We're going up $1,500.
Yeah, so we just justified 500 of that, right? I mean, if we keep it at.
And took 500 from the training and instruction. So there's 1,000 there.
So we'll, move that to 9,500.
Uniforms, just curious with our boots, shoes and boots covered, you get an allowance.
Yeah,
They have to be, like, department, like, approved,
yeah,
like Danners or like 511s or
Yeah.
like whatever. Yeah, okay.
there's $4,000 for all of us. Which we normally wouldn't use that much. It all depends, like when we had to get vests and stuff and if there is reimbursement. So that's what gets costly with it.
Well, it
Of
seems like,
course, uniform pants are like $90 a pair. These are ridiculous expensive and then they
Yeah.
start fading super easy
Right.
and
well, a good pair of Danners now for real. Like if you want a winter pair, I'm thinking you want a winter pair that are insulated and you want a summer pair. You don't want to be sweating. And that's it. Every officer ought to have,
I
at
wear
least two
stuff
pairs.
year round. But yeah, nothing gear wise is cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
You buy a new belt, it goes $100 or more.
Holster was $100 for Joe.
And
Yeah, it's great. Everything is really expensive. Mhm. Hey, I finally got new pants. that I
Hey,
put on.
would be-
No,
It's all yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah, yellow.
I got nothing else. That's managed, but that's.
I gotta go talk to Kelly and figure out these salaries here. It's 2024 into 25. I mean, hey, we did some pretty good guesses, all right? And, we were a little ambitious in some areas, maybe not as much in others, but that's great because I think we can really refine it this year. So, yeah. I don't have anything else, Amy.
I have nothing else. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Well, I think that good. Ironed out what we needed to and, there's.
The only thing is, we'll have a question is the county attorney, how much that's gonna go up and the IT contract.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't, I don't think the county attorney's contract's gonna go up, but IT is gonna be
Yeah,
something that we're gonna hash through here in the next few months.
upstairs.
For the assignments, he's upstairs.
Thought Leroy was joining us, by the way.
He was, he thought it was in here.
It's usually here, but
Well, they came in and told me today, hey, by the way, they're coming, and I'm like, well, we booked the room,
Yeah.
so first come, first serve.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
yeah, it's fine. It's easier up there.
I mean, yeah, after we're done, you can let them know.
Yes.
Come on down.
Yeah, otherwise, I think those two. That's it.
No, I agree.
All right, folks. Well, I appreciate your time coming in tonight.
Do we have to-
No, we're just a committee.
Okay.
There's only 2 of you council members, so no formal action can be taken. But we'll just let Amy tell us we can leave.
All right, we're good.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time.